Hello YouTube. I want to try a new thing with my channel. I want to talk to you about a subject I'm passionate about, a subject which I think there's a lot of interest in, and a subject which there is not a ton of great info about. At least not easily accessible info in my searching here on YouTube. What I want to talk to you about today is something that's near and dear to my heart, something that consumes a lot of my free time and a lot of my money. I'm going to talk to you about records. You know, LPs, wax, vinyl, these big 12-inch plastic discs, sometimes 7-inch. Records are a great hobby. I think a lot of you know that. I think a lot of you who don't collect records have been hearing a lot about it, and I think there is a lot of buzz about vinyl collecting. Vinyl sales have been kind of going through the roof over the last 10 years. I mean, it's still a small part of the whole, but more and more versus every other part of physical music sales, records have been actually increasing year to year for about the last decade. And I think a lot of you out there probably have some interest in it, but might not know where to start. Not everybody had the advantage, especially younger people. I'm 27 myself. Not a lot of younger people had the advantage of growing up around a turntable, growing up around a stereo in the home the same way that I did. My parents are older, they're baby boomers. My father was a big stereo fan. Music was always a strong part of my life growing up, and I learned how to use and operate turntables and other stereo equipment at a fairly young age. I made many a mixtape in my day. But what I want to do with my channel here is something kind of new. I have looked around the internet, and I'm involved in quite a few forums, and I'm an active poster on things related to records, trading, and gear. And what I've found is a lot of people have a lot of questions. And that information is out there, but for the neophyte, that information is not easily accessible. It's not necessarily kept in one place. And what, more importantly, about this YouTube channel is there's not a lot of great videos and great channels in general that will tell you all the information you really need to know to get into records. Sure, there is a very active and very helpful vinyl-centric community on YouTube, but they mostly talk about their collections. They mostly talk about digging through crates and record finds and new records they like, and they talk about the music side of things. And to a degree I want to talk about that too, because, you know, I love to share my interests with other people. But what I want this channel to be, and what I want this series to be, is essentially a place where you can come, you can ask questions, and on a video by video basis you can learn some of the basics that will help you, primarily people who are interested in possibly getting into vinyl collecting and record playback, help you figure out what it is that you actually need out of this hobby, what you need to get started, where you should and shouldn't be spending money on gear, some tips and tricks about trading, some tips and tricks about care and condition, things like how to set up a cartridge, things like what pieces of gear are necessary, things like differences in a little more technical side like cartridge loading and stylus cleaning and things like that. I want to do a channel that contains eventually, I'm a bit lazy, but eventually a large amount of information that will help you, the relatively uninformed neophyte, get on your feet without having to dig through, 8 million different forum threads, without having to read a book on the subject. Because I know, this is YouTube. This is 2012. This is the world we live in. We want digestible 5-minute chunks. We don't want to have to dig. And I personally don't think that in the world that we live in, you should have to if you want to get involved in this hobby. I think there should be a place where you can come and get information and get up and running. It's not as difficult as some people would have you believe, and it's not exactly a a extremely expensive hobby to get into, though obviously there is some money involved in the initial outlay. But I want to cover a lot of that as well. I'm a huge proponent of vintage gear. I'm a huge proponent of garage sailing, of finding a good deal on something, and of tinkering. And if I can help you with that, if I can help you get off the ground, then I've done my job. So this is really just an intro video. I just wanted to talk about what I want to accomplish with this channel, and there'll be many more videos to come. I think the first video I'm going to do is just a sort of overall idea of the parts involved in a record playback system. The things you need, like a turntable, a phono cartridge, a phono stage, amplifiers, speakers, that sort of thing. And, you know, I'll take you through it. I'll guide you, and I'll try and keep it as simple as possible, because I know that a lot of people in this hobby, myself included, can get a little in-depth. Get a little geeky with it, and it really kind of confuses people who just want to have a good time, just want to listen to some records, maybe buy a few records, maybe they, you know, a lot of their favorite bands are now pressing and they're really interested in the format, or maybe they like a lot of classic rock or a lot of jazz, or anything in which they can, you know, go around to garage sales and go around to Salvation Army and Goodwill and pick up a lot of great music for pennies on the dollar. They just want to become part of this but don't really know where to start. And hopefully I can help with that. And please, if you have any questions, comments, if you have any ideas for videos that I should do, let me know. I think you know, if this thing ends up becoming a regular thing for me, which I think it will, I want to eventually do gear reviews as well, because I do switch around a lot of gear from time to time, and maybe even music reviews, which I'm not exactly a journalist, I'm just a guy with a camera and passion. So my name's Kevin, and this is my YouTube channel. So please, subscribe, give me comments, let me know what it is that you would like to hear about vinyl records and stereo gear in general. Thanks.